Hey, sisters and brothers, welcome to week 82 of Read Through the Bible in 2 years. In our Old Testament readings, we are finishing the book of the prophet Ezekiel. Last week, we talked about how Ezekiel began to have this vision of a new temple that was to be built, a temple that would replace the old temple that the Babylonians had burned with the fall of Jerusalem. And in this new temple, there's going to be an entirely new priesthood, and these are things that are so important to Ezekiel because, after all, he was a priest. And also, he talks about the hope that will flow from this temple, a hope that will come out like a river, which is an image that is picked up even in the New Testament at the very end of the book of Revelations. And then we will have one day where we'll read just one book, which is the book of Obadiah. This prophet Obadiah is the smallest of the books of the Old Testament, and it is the last of the prophets that talks about the destruction of Jerusalem, that is there during the destruction of Jerusalem or the pending destruction of Jerusalem. And then we move into the second part of the book of the prophet Isaiah. Now, we read the first part of the book of the prophet Isaiah quite a few months ago, and that was the first 39 chapters. And that whole part dealt with Israel and Judah's conflict with the Assyrian Empire, which took place approximately 725 BC. This second part of Isaiah takes place almost 200 years later, where now the people of Israel, the people of Judah, have been slaves and exiles in Babylon now for 50 or 60 years, and it's time for them to come home. You see, every empire has its ending to it. And now the Babylonian Empire is getting ready to fall. They are being attacked by the Persians from their rear flank. And so the Babylonian Empire is about ready to come to an end. And Isaiah is there, the second Isaiah is there to proclaim that the judgment of God has ended and it is time for God's people to be led home, not unlike what Moses did as he led God's people through the Red Sea. This time these people will be led home through water as well, but this time through the Jordan River, and they will return back home to rebuild their lives again. The New Testament is also going to have various books that they'll be talking about in this upcoming week. We finish Paul's letter to Titus, and then we spend 2 days in Paul's letter to Philemon, which is a letter that has all of one chapter in it as well. And then we enter into the fourth gospel, the Gospel of John. And the way that the gospel writer of John writes, he tells the story in a much different way than Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And it begins this Gospel of John with those words that we've heard so many times before. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then a few verses later, it says, "This Word put on flesh and dwelt among us." And this Word, of course, is Jesus. So, folks, thank you. Thank you for your persistence in reading through the Bible in 2 years, and may it continue to deepen your knowledge of Scripture, but more importantly, may it continue to deepen your love for this God who speaks to us through Scripture. Thank you.